We are back, everybody, on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. It's the radio digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classifieds. Our special guest is Councilman Tim Ben Boydston.
All right, so bringing us up to date. Billboards bad. We want to get rid of them. We cut it. Metro comes to us, or people come to us, the city, and say, hey, we can fix this. Let us put up 3 digital billboards. We'll get rid of a bunch of them. Isn't everything wonderful? Isn't everything great?
But the revenue that they get from the digital...
We're not talking revenue yet. We didn't get there. We didn't get there.
Sorry.
Councilman Boydston has not gotten to that portion.
Sorry.
Doug. We'll get there.
Sorry.
Okay. So far, so good.
3 digital billboard structures. Actually,
Right.
6 digital billboards.
6 billboards.
It's important because they cast a lot of light into the night sky. Okay. And into people's houses.
So then people see this going on, and it's a lot of backdoor stuff, the whole political stuff, and people get upset.
And so then it came about after we had made the first deal. Then we did the Edwards deal after that.
Right.
Okay. And so we paid $1.3 million, and 47 boards are coming down. Well, 22 of those boards are part of the 22 of those structures are part of the 62 structures on the Metro right-of-way. So when we paid for 22 of those, so that means that the deal's no longer 62. So if those people are getting their mailers from the yes on Measure S, that is highly misleading and not true. It is not 62 structures. It's actually 40. And we have been asking for the truth to be told in every way we can, only because we want people to know what's actually transpiring. So there's really 40 structures and not 62.
Which is very confusing because on the back there's a quote from Councilman Keller, who is also friendly with the show, sort of. It said 118 billboards.
Yes, and that
he's
referencing 118 faces. Okay. And so from that 118 faces, you have to subtract 44. It's not really it's 118 minus 44 faces.
Okay.
When you're talking about the Metro deal. So you would think that after we spent $1.3 million of the taxpayers' money, the first thing that we would have done then is when the referendum was successful and we had the opportunity to kill the deal temporarily and look at another deal, that's something we should have done, because you realize that we're getting X number of dollars for this deal and we're getting X number of boards taken down in exchange. So now we get 35% less boards taken down and we don't change the deal? That's ridiculous. That would be like you going out and buying 3 condos, agreeing to buy 3 condos from Keller Davis Realty, for instance, and you say, I would like to buy 3 condos, $200,000 a piece, and you sign a deal, and then later on they come and say, well, John, we're going to take your $600,000, but we're only going to give you 2 condos.
Right.
We're not giving you the 3rd condo. Well, you'd say that's a crazy deal. Well, of course it's crazy. And for us not to stop and rework the deal right then, and we have every right to do that. This whole thing about some people saying, well, it's hard to get a deal, it takes a long time, and nobody's going to do it. I've got news for you. When we crunch the numbers in this, on the lower numbers, because they're saying it's much more now, but on the lower numbers that the staff did $450,000 to $600,000 a year, which is questionable, but if that were to happen, okay, on those very numbers, the numbers that we have are astronomical. Okay, total numbers, and it's based on those numbers, about $192 million profit. Now, if you don't think that somebody will come to do a deal with that kind of profit on the table, think again.
Well, that's okay. So they do this referendum. Everybody signs the little petitions out in front of Food for Less, and it's aggravating. Everybody hates them, and there's fights. And we get all that bad. Yeah. The referendum. Basically it's the citizens going, no, we don't like this.
That's correct.
All right, so then it goes back to the council, and the council says, fine, we're going to put it on the ballot.
We're going to put it on the ballot. We're going to ignore the fact that it's 35% worse deal, and we're going to put it on the ballot.
We're going to spend a boatload of money to put it on the ballot.
And then we're going to put it on the ballot and let the people decide. And, I agreed to let the people decide before they change the deal. Because that was my thing, is let the people decide. I always want the people to decide. I want to know what the people think. I want to do a poll. I want to know what the people think. So we get to this point, in any case, it's going forward. And it is going forward. And the problem with the deal as it's written, not just the 35% less that we're getting, is that the other cities that have done these kind of deals for the people, if you decide that, first of all, let me say, if a bunch of people say, if the majority of the citizens of Santa Clarita think that we should have these digital boards and put blight in one area of the city, but remove blight in another area of the city, well, and take down all those boards, well then, if you get to that point, then you want to do a deal, and then you got to get the best deal you can. And this is a crummy deal because you're not taking all the boards down. You're only taking 40 down. You're going to leave 25 boards up. They'll be impossible to take down in the future because once you take 40 boards down, then the other 47 boards down that that we did the deal already, that are coming down anyway. We take all those boards down, the 25 left, their value skyrockets because of supply and demand.
Absolutely.
There's only 25 faces in the whole valley, so it becomes impossible to buy them out. So when you do the deal, you want to do the deal globally. You want to take all 65 of the big boards that are going to be left after the Metro, the Edwards boards are gone. You want all 65 of those in the deal. Boom. That's the first thing you want. And I'll tell you the second thing you want.
I was going to say
after the break.
I want to know. This is that was very, very Ryan Seacrest of you. No, when we come back from the break, Tim Ben is going to tell us how to fix it, right? Because that's what I want to know. I want my politicians to fix things. Things are broken. Everybody can see that. Fix it. All right. You listen to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. Doug actually contributed a little bit there on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. We'll be right back.
Billboard Radio Hour. Just kidding. It's the Gazette Radio Hour on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS with Doug and John. Our special guest, Councilman Tim Ben Boyston, as we discuss the never-ending
Measure
billboard.
S for, what does the S stand for?
I'm not going to comment what I think.
Wow, for the first time in a long time, Councilman Tim Ben Boyston was speechless. We'll have film at 11.
S stands for speechless is what it makes me when I really think about how badly the people are going to do under this deal.
Okay, so we've got a bad deal based upon the information you provided. You have a bad deal. Okay.
And so how could we have a better deal if the people want the digital boards? Because if we find out that people don't want the digital boards, then we should just not do the digital boards.
Okay, but there's going to be people who don't want them and people who want them.
Well, you know what? Here's a good idea. Why don't we poll the people specifically? We never polled them in the beginning to see if they wanted digital boards. It'd be like saying we want to build a sports arena. Wouldn't you poll the people to see if we want to build a sports arena if they're going to pay for it? I think so. So not everything that makes money for the city is a good thing. Wouldn't you say that? I mean, there's a lot of lucrative businesses. We could put in a toxic waste dump. They pay a lot of money to put toxic waste, and not something that we want. Okay, just because there's money involved. No, you have to find out what your people want. So the thing that you want to do, as I said before, is you want to do a global deal with the two companies that own the 40 boards that are left on the Metro right-of-way and the 25 boards that are off. And you can do that because guess what? They can take their boards down on their own, and they don't sue the city because they do a deal. They take their boards down on their own, and Metro just doesn't get the revenue anymore. They get $186,000 a year revenue. Right. But once the boards are down, you can't put them back up because it's against the law, and we control local zoning here in California.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that this is where it gets a little sticky because you're talking about making a deal with two separate companies. Are they going to co-partner in these digital billboards?
Well, I don't know how the deal is going to be structured, but I guarantee you this. If this measure is defeated as it should be, the next day we can sit down and those companies can bring forward proposals, okay, and they have a chance to bring forward proposals. And if other companies have a proposal, but what part of the proposal has to be is that they take down all their boards. So you see, we're talking with the wrong people to get the best deal. Yeah. And here's the money thing. Let's talk about the money for a second. So first we do a deal and make sure all the boards go away. Okay. Second, we don't do 50-year deals. Okay, all over. You can go on and check the deals out. They did one down in L.A. yesterday for Downey, 5-year increments. Okay, 5 years.
That makes sense. You have no clue what the
not 50 years. Okay, so you can do a much shorter lease as well. Just so that you're not going to be living with these things. Well, we'll all be dead by the time that came up for renewal. So you can make it a shorter period, but the money is very important. Right now. The way it's structured is we don't get guaranteed revenue at all. And we don't get a percentage of the gross. But All Vision, That's the company who
that's
has
gonna do the-
brought in the blockers and tried to stop the signatures from getting gathered, and the company that lied on their application to the state of California about what the zoning was, and they said it was commercial, but it wasn't. It was open space until my fellow council people turned it into commercial.
Yeah,
okay?
that's
And
a
that's a
whole
whole
nother-
nother
that's a whole
story, a
nother
whole
story.
nother issue.
Whole
We
nother
don't have
show.
another hour. But before all that, when we're talking about the money, so that All Vision company gets 40 or 30%. If they run the boards themselves, they get 40%. If they sub it out, they get 30% of the gross. So let's say they get 40% of the gross. And then all the other expenses are paid to build the boards, to run the
Right.
boards,
Right.
all those things that cost. They're all paid out of the gross. And what's left over, the city gets, if and when we get 65% of the net, Metro gets 35% of the net. Well, there's a problem there. Because if we get $650,000 a year, Metro gets $350,000 a year for what? For nothing.
Nothing.
Because we could go to the board companies and say, take your boards down.
And Metro, the
now-
leases with Metro on a month to
And
month.
now you know why Metro is the applicant.
Yeah.
And now I have a reason to believe why Metro has so far turned down our invitations to come out here and pitch their side of the story. So, I mean, it's
Well,
not a make or break thing with Metro.
Right.
After all, you know, it's not going to bankrupt them if they were to lose $186,000 in a year, since their budget's about $4 billion.
So, but you're saying is your fellow councilman agreed to the deal with All Vision getting above the gross?
Yes.
That's a
And
bad business deal, is it not?
It's a terrible business deal. That the city and the taxpayers should get a worse deal than the lobbyist and the in-between company.
That's-
I mean,
okay.
they're getting 40% of the gross, and then we have to wait for the net, and then we split the net with somebody that we don't have to. So if we get 650, they get
companies-
350,000.
Well-
So you know how much Metro gets under the same scenario that we were talking about? That if we use the $1 million number a year,
Right.
the city gets $1 million. Well, over the course of the deal, Metro gets $25 million of taxpayer money. Now, for $25 million, I believe we'll have enough to build a Taj Mahal beautiful senior center in town that we could do, and we could also build some other amenities.
Well, Metro with that money could build the bullet train. No, that's a whole other story too. We won't even get to that one.
No.
No, but okay, but wait a minute. Back up just a second. Metro right now is getting money as a result of the leases, the granting of the right of way and the leases for the billboards that are existing.
Yes.
Okay.
A little.
And we and it's a little bit fuzzy because they are a governmental agency, and we're taking away their right to have those leases.
Well, we're
Well,
going
they're
to.
agreeing
would
to
be.
that.
We were not taking away the right for their leases, but the people
But if-
who
if-
own those leases.
right.
But we would be a causative agent, perhaps, to
Yes.
say that.
Okay.
And so, if you wanted to structure the deal and so that they were not left out, you could structure the deal to make sure that they're made whole. They're
just
kept on that same number.
The same
that they
that
get
same
now.
number that they would always get.
And
That's-
the taxpayer would still be millions and millions and millions of dollars ahead. And that's the whole point. My job, when I came to be a city councilperson, what I told people, I will do everything I can to look after your money like I look after my own money, and I have to look after the money at the Canyon Theater Guild, which is a nonprofit organization, which you have to run like a small business, or you go out of business.
Right.
Right.
So that's the kind of careful harboring of our resources that I want to do, and I think this is just not it. This is not looking after the taxpayer. So I encourage everyone to vote no on Measure S.
Vote no on S. Okay. All right. We will have to. I'll be in Key West, so I will call in my vote.
It's not about you, John.
It's all about me, Doug. When are you going to learn that? Well, Councilman Tim Van Boyson, it's been a pleasure as always. If you want to stick around and pick football with us, you can. You're more than welcome to.
No, but I do want to tell people that we are doing two great
I was gonna
shows
ask that.
downtown New Hall. There we're doing Once Upon a Mattress, a really fun musical comedy appropriate for the whole family. Saturday, I'm filling in for a gentleman who usually plays the king. He's a mute king, and so it's everybody's opportunity to actually see
Saturday.
me being quiet for 2 hours.
Saturday, Tim
Is that
Van
hard for
Boyson
you
will
to
not
play
talk
that
for 2
role?
hours.
It's going to kill me. And the second thing is a great funny comedy called 39 Steps. It's based on the Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's a big send-up. It is hysterical.
Awesome.
So get your tickets, 799-2702.
And a secret, when I was in 8th grade, I played Sir Harry. All right, you listen to the Gazette Radio Hour on KHTS, AM-1220. We'll be right back.